Australia should no longer export coal to other countries to be used for electricity. Aditya, you want to start this one? Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
Sorry. Australia is a wealthier country, so for them it will be easy to shift to a different power resource other than coal. But if they stop exporting coal to the countries that are largely dependent upon generating electricity on coal, those countries would suffer. Rather than stopping it completely, regulation is the right word in this question to have it. And also in the foreign aid, when you had that question, the foreign aid should also focus on building some other resources in those countries as an alternative for charcoal, for alternative as coal, so that the exports from Australia can go down. These are interrelated.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sarath?
This is, I think, this is not just an economic decision. I think this is more has to do with geopolitics and trade. So Australia, I think Australia and any developed country has a responsibility. I think they have a responsibility to nudge other countries to switch to better things. But stopping coal export is not going to help that, because the other country might be dependent on coal, as Aditya said. So I think it's a matter of some craft in diplomacy and craft in trade, politics, and geopolitics that has to be there here. It should be. We should look at it as a mixed bag. See, say for example, if some country is willing to, invest or switch to cleaner energy, then actually Australia might want to give them coal at a discounted price. I mean, just to incentivize, the recipient country adopting to new technology, because adopting to clean energy will take time, because it needs a lot of infrastructure to build a lot of infrastructure for this developing country. So I think they should do it in that manner. It should be a mix of geopolitics, trade, and diplomacy. This is where this policy point about coal export should fit in.
This question is not as much into economy, but this question is more into environmental factors.
Yeah, it sounds to me like a Greens policy. So, Babu Gogineni, did you want to talk about that?
I think, take for example, the grade of coal that is produced, so to say, extracted in India. If you were to use the coal that is produced in some mines in India and then burn it to make electricity, you are likely to put in more sulfur into the atmosphere than they would if they were using Australian coal. Australian coal is of a higher quality.
That's a great point.
So depending on what other resources will be used by the company, by the country to which you are denying coal, I would make that decision. I think by trying to be good, we may end up having very bad consequences.
Yeah.
And like Sarath said, we should incentivize, we as in Australian government, but Australian government is for Australia. It will meet certain parameters of international expectations, human rights, there's no doubt about it. These are international sovereign obligations, but they have not been active participant in global environmental negotiations. I don't think, not an active one. I don't think Australia is suddenly going to now make those take those policy initiatives. Yeah, there can't be a clear answer to this unless we know the context.
Understood.
It should not encourage, but it should also know, by giving Australian coal, you might save the environment.
Yeah, understood. I would say somewhat disagree just to the notion of a complete stop. I just don't think that's practical or feasible for all the reasons you all shared already. So should we go with somewhat disagree, or should we strongly disagree?
Either is okay.
Somewhat
is okay.
Somewhat, okay. All good. There should be fewer tax breaks on investment properties.